Isn't this technically the last episode of the season?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Season finale.
How many episodes have we had?
Two.
Hey everyone, welcome to Eyechat. I'm Justin Chandler. I'm a news editor at the Eye Opener. So we're going to be talking about some stories that impacted us this term, and they're stories that maybe people might not have heard of because they don't include dildos or bugs, unfortunately.
Basically, we discovered that they had this script policy that lets students sort of exchange scripts, but without really letting the original writers of the scripts know about it. And so what happened is there were issues of representation where sometimes a student wrote a script about characters that had a specific ethnicity or cultural background, and then when that script was redistributed, the new people would just sort of change everything up and not like care about these things without even consulting the original script writer.
So how would it change, like if somebody wrote a script with a specific person in mind, what did they feel was lost when someone else came and took that identity away from a character or someone in the film?
A lot. So specifically, like one of the students that we talked about in this piece was a student named Robin Matuto who wrote a screenplay that was about her relationship with her mother, and it was based a lot in Filipino culture. And the new team that had taken over the script changed the ethnicity of the characters to Spanish. Like they kept the same storylines and the same sort of feelings and emotions. They literally just changed the culture to like Spanish culture, which was problematic for several reasons. One, that was like a very personal story about her and her mom, and two, there's a colonial history with the Filipino people and Spanish colonizers that makes the whole thing very problematic. But it's just sort of like this was something that you wrote, that this is your work, and to see someone take it and just change it without telling you, is like anyone would be reasonably annoyed about that.
It kind of reminds me of like the controversies around like Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, no.
Where it was like a story that had its roots in East Asia, like the creators and the characters were East Asian, but they had a white person play the lead.
In a way, that's exactly what it is. And one of the things that came up when we sort of talked to faculty about the problem was they were just sort of like, well, this happens in Hollywood. Like, we're preparing these students for Hollywood. And then the question there is like, why wouldn't you want to change that? Like, this isn't something people are happy about when it happens in Hollywood.
I was a photographer for the actual election results, and the tension in the RAM was so thick. Like, people were anxious, they were ready for the results. But then that tension quickly dissolved into like electricity as like we found out that Unify had just swept the entire executive team. Like it was just a really bizarre feeling because especially considering we had a mixed slate this year. And like the big reason why I think the story's important is because it's going to be our year next year. Like these people are going to decide how our year goes. They're going to change and affect a lot of things.
This last slate that was in, they were a split slate like you said, and that was the first in decades. And really there was a lot of division that we saw, lots of infighting, executives calling one another out online, and although things did certainly get done, there was a lot of friction, and we even saw an executive resign.
But I wonder how it's going to be when it's a unified slate and all these people in a way are sort of protecting each other. I mean, that may be a good thing in terms of efficiency and getting things done, but we don't know yet like if they have the best interests of students in mind. So it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, and accountability was something that you talked about a lot with the election in
Right.
the editorial that you wrote.
Yeah, I wrote an op-ed about the debates that happened, and to be honest, it was nothing less than a scam because we walked in there, almost everybody in the debate who were watching was wearing a Unify shirt or a Elevate shirt or a Rhino onesie. Like nobody was there as like a curious student to figure out what these people wanted. They were all there to support their base. And what was even worse was, as media, we weren't allowed to film the event and we weren't allowed to ask questions.
I know every time elections come up, one of the things people always like complain about is voter turnout, because we have like ridiculously, like disappointingly low voter turnouts. And I mean, it doesn't make sense if you want to address voter apathy like that. People need to feel like they actually have some sort of participation in the process. But I mean, if the debates can be staged like that, it's kind of pointless.
Essentially what the UPass is a discount university transit pass. So it's like a Metro pass, except it would cost students $70 a month, and it would be included in their tuition. So there would be no opt-out, just every student at Ryerson, if it were approved, would be paying for this and would get the same benefit as a Presto card. Or as
MetroPass?
A Metro-
would get the same benefit as a MetroPass, yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I've had a personal debate with a friend with the merits of a Metro Pass versus a Presto. He is Team Presto, and he likes it because it's cost-effective and efficient. I like a Metro Pass because, yes, it's a little bit more, and sometimes like I don't break even, but it encourages me to kind of use the TTC more.
When the piece came out and the news came out, what a lot of people were complaining about was, what if I don't take transit on a daily basis? What if I just live a couple blocks away from school and I walk? Now you're making me pay for the service that I never really used in the first place. And I think like most of the controversy and discussion has been around the option of having to opt out or not. What do we think about the actual price? About $70?
$70 is good. Like
It is
right
a good
now,
price.
like I'm paying $116, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, 116.
Like 70 is a really good price. I think it's manageable, especially as like a commuter student. That's like a golden ticket for me. So now.
So if I heard correctly, there was a vote about it at U of T recently?
Yes, yeah. U of T had a referendum, which Ryerson won't be able to for a while still, just with how our policies and everything are. But U of T voted it down, so they will not have a U-Pass.
Oh, that's kind of surprising. I thought they'd have like a decent commuter base, but
So keep reading the eye opener, and keep tuning into Eyechats next year. I'm sure there'll be something good happening, and hopefully you have fun. Enjoy that summer.
This is like Return of the King, and that's like
That's
3
so
times.
funny.
Yeah.